And so it's really powerful technology, and it's really game changing in the sense that, we're moving this machine learning capability to a new paradigm in analog, and being able to roll that out into customers as well. And so
hello everyone, welcome to another Hatchpad Insight. I'm Tim Winkler, creator of Hatchpad, the career hub connecting progressive technologists with emerging startups. If this is your first time here, don't forget to hit subscribe for updates on new insight interviews like this one. Today we're chatting with Tom Doyle, the CEO of Aspinity, a startup headquartered in Pittsburgh, PA, who's revolutionizing the world of always-on sensing. Tom, thanks for hanging out with us at the Hatchpad.
thanks for having me. It's great to be here. Always great to talk about new technology and how we all get together as well. So a little background about myself. I've been in the industry in what I call the semiconductor industry for quite a while, about 33 years, going on 35 years. And so it's always great to introduce new technology and really focus on new technology that's kind of changing the marketplace pretty dramatically. And spending a lot of that time in Silicon Valley, we've now brought it outside of Silicon Valley and, driving a new startup with new technology out of Pittsburgh, which is actually becoming quite a nice hub for machine learning and new technology such as ours. So it's really great to be here.
Yeah, I love that. We're super intrigued with the Pittsburgh market as a whole, and excited to see a lot of the innovation that's coming out of there in the world of robotics, AI, semiconductors. So why don't we dive into a little bit more about an overview of Aspinity and tell us about your flagship products.
Yeah, so being in the industry for a while, when I started getting involved in this technology and helped develop it as I'm one of the co-founders, it was actually pretty exciting because we like to talk about the chips that we put out as being analog machine learning or analog ML chips, and that's a bit of a new term. Many people don't understand. They understand analog, and that's has its pros and cons, right? It's very, very tough technology, and a lot of people are learning it and haven't studied it for a while. But the other side is machine learning, and this idea of being able to take information and classify it and detect events, detect signatures and whatnot. And so we merge those two. Typically machine learning type algorithms are running on large compute farms, if you will, or even in small digital processors. But we actually are able to run those machine learning models developed by us on our new analog ML core, which is, as I say, it's an analog-based processing core. And the reason that analog is so important is because, when we think about our flagship products being able to detect voice and things of that nature, all of that natural sound data is actually analog in nature. And so we're doing a bit of a bit of an inefficiency play by taking that data, digitizing it, and looking at it with digital cores, right? And so if we're able to do that within the analog domain on really low power, almost zero power hardware, we're able to enable a whole new set of what we like to call mobile always-on sensing devices. So think about earbuds lasting a much longer time, or TV remotes being able to just sit there all day waiting for you to wake it up with your voice and not losing battery power, right? And that's kind of where we're really going, but that extends even beyond voice. And we've been delivering technology, on our chip and our algorithms to customers that are able to do things in the condition monitoring domain. So imagine putting a sensor that's driven by our analog machine learning capabilities on a machine, and it can last years and provide the wake up when that first instance of a problem is detected. And so it's really powerful technology, and it's really game changing in the sense that, we're moving this machine learning capability to a new paradigm in analog, and being able to roll that out into customers as well. And so, we're on the verge of going production with our chips, but we've been working with a number of customers, pretty big names over the last few years, letting them test and evaluate our technology.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I mean, it's a space that is exploding when you think about growth. I was reading in an article just this morning about, the semiconductor revenue topped some 450 billion in 2020. just a massive space. And obviously, I think everybody can relate to a scenario when you're, out for a run or a jog, and those earbuds kick out on you, and you're forced to just go with the old audio straight out of the phone. So definitely, as a small example, but the more and more as wearables become more and more prevalent, certainly seems like a space that's going to need more support from companies like Aspinity.
And that's exactly the case, right? So, and we understand why it's inefficient because it's the current paradigm. And so, it's actually done well. Like I said, I've been in the industry for a while. The last 30 years has been improving that idea of digital processing, right, with DSPs and whatnot. But now that's really run out of steam. I mean, we could talk about Moore's law and other aspects of it, but you've nailed it. We really have to, have a totally different approach to how we process at, mobile type, battery operated products, and that's exactly where we're going.
Very nice. Let's jump into another question here. So, knowing the company is, building a revolutionary product and using this niche technology as you described, what advice would you give to, say, young professionals, young viewers of this video here that are interested in maybe pursuing work with a company like Aspinity? Are there any, particular skill sets or curiosities that you would say, this is the kind of engineer or background that we are looking for to help us to get to our next step in growth?
Yeah, and we are hiring, right? We're a startup. We're pretty well funded, and we continue to be funded. And it's a great question. I talked about analog machine learning. Those are really two different disciplines that engineers may or may not have, right? On the one hand, we hire a number of machine learning experts, and it's great in Pittsburgh with Carnegie Mellon and other schools here that produce those. But they don't necessarily have a background or the capability on the analog side, and vice versa. I think many of the engineers that we hire that have an analog background or discipline don't necessarily have that machine learning or software background. And so we really do look for folks that maybe have one of those disciplines but have enough background in the other to be able to propel them over the finish line and be able to be productive with what we're doing. Now, that being said, we are making it so that machine learning folks, when they develop stuff for our technology, albeit analog, we are building the SDK and the software environment so they don't have to be an analog expert. But when we hire internally, we are looking for people to help us, build those layers of interface between the analog world and the software or machine learning world. So it's great to have, if you have a discipline either in school or in the real world, in one of those two, it's expand those horizons, right, to actually move on to hardware and get more entrenched in hardware, even if it's digital hardware as well, because that really helps you propel to the other side, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think also there's a piece of this that, what's the size of Aspinity today?
We're about 15, 16 people right now.
Okay, so certainly classified as an early stage startup company, and you're an entrepreneur. You've been through a few previous companies in the past as well. What is it from almost like a personality trait that you feel is something that meshes well coming into a company of this size? It's a very different environment than maybe a large enterprise software company, or maybe even a startup that's 100 employees. What would you say is some of those personality traits that would adapt well or be more successful in this early stage?
Yeah, I would say, I look at it from the standpoint when we talk to new applicants and whatnot, it's an opportunity, right? So we're 16 people, grow into 21, 22 as quickly as we can. And, when you think about coming into a small company like ours, what's much different from a larger company where you come in and you're doing one thing and you could do it for the next year. When you come into what we're doing, we're very reactive to changes in the environment. By that, I mean changes to what customers want, changes to what we're focused on for the time being. So many of our engineers are actually multiple discipline, and they're doing multiple things at the same time. And so that's a real trait. But I also see it as an opportunity. I've been in the industry for a while. early on in my jobs, I looked at I thought it was great that I was able to move quickly to multiple jobs and not be stuck doing the same thing. Hey, I want you to develop this machine learning model for this particular application, this event, and you're working on that for a year, right?
Mhm.
In the case of us, we have our machine learning engineers come in and develop a model, move it to hardware, test it with hardware, and a customer comes along and we move them to a new model to develop and be able to test that and develop it as well. And so the breadth of the stack is what I think about as the great opportunity. And you're not stuck doing a single task, in a single compartmentalized effort, if you will.
Sure. And in terms of location, I'm curious to hear how are you hiring? Are you all in an office setting? Is it a distributed team?
It's a little bit both. I mean, I think we all know that the pandemic has forced us and others to kind of think about the way we do business, how we have our teams. In some cases, it's really difficult to not have the team together. Obviously, we take all the precautions, but with a lot of our staff, I would say about half, we're very flexible in the sense that we've learned to operate independently and also be able to use a lot of the workplace tools out there that allow us to be in different places and still be very productive. And so a lot of our staff that are mostly geared towards the software side of things are working remotely, and we can be very successful in that. And others come into the office on occasion, or some of them are here every day doing testing and hardware testing and things like that, because we do have equipment that has to be run every day. When you're in the semiconductor business, you are doing different types of testing with humidity and with temperature and with all different types of qualification testing. So yeah, it's a mix of both, but I think we found the right mix of how that distributed team can work together and be productive, and we're always looking for ways to improve that.
And it sounds like you guys are in a growth stage right now, and you're hiring. I guess what's the growth plan maybe for the next 3 to 6 months?
Yeah, so like I said, we're budgeted to grow to about 21, 22. We're 15, 16 today, so we're actively pursuing, and that should take us through the end of the year, and then that's when we expect that we'll be able to propel to the next level, right? So as startups, we're hitting key milestones at each venture raise, and we have plans to do that by the end of the year as well, and then really grow the team to the next level, where we expect to have hit a number of milestones with regards to the development of our product and development of customer relationships, as well as partners in the industry, right? So we have a number of semiconductor partners, some of the ones you mentioned that are established, they're our partners as well. And so we work together with them, integrating our technology with theirs and going out to the market. And some of those are public. I mean, Infineon is one of our major partners that we like to talk about as well. And we have others that we've worked with also.
Excellent. Well, that's pretty much a wrap on this end. Do you have anything else that you wanted to add, or?
No, I think it's great. I mean, it's always best to have a breadth of experience, and when we look for folks, but we also we're looking for the best and the brightest, and we're hiring in Pittsburgh as well as outside of Pittsburgh as well. And so definitely like the opportunity to kind of talk today and kind of talk about our technology and what we're looking for as we hire folks.
If you like this video, don't forget to hit thumbs up and subscribe for future updates.